For week 1, I interned at Arkansas School for the Deaf with the art class with the new art teacher. Her name is Elizabeth. And the 6th grade class gave her the name sign, this. I worked Monday, August 19th from 8 to 3. Tuesday, August 20th from 8 to 3:30. Wednesday, August 21st from 8 to 3:30. Thursday, August 22nd from 8 to 3:30, and Friday, August 23rd from 9:25 to 1:25. So I worked for a total of 33 and a half hours for the first week with the art teacher inside the art class. Her class consists of middle school 6th graders, the high school students, the seniors, and then the juniors for her last period, and then elementary students from kindergarten up through 4th or 5th grade. I'm not sure about the 5th grade class. And they come in rounds over 3 different periods in regards to the elementary students. Now, working with the art teacher that's never had sign language before is definitely an interesting setting, I should say the least. In regards to some of her questions that she would ask me if she signed something, and I would explain to her that she was signing incorrectly, and I would fix her hands to help her out. And she was like, well, what does it mean if it's this direction? And I'm like, it doesn't mean anything. For example, an easy one would be, how are you? And she would go around trying to talk to the kids, and she would just do this. And she was like, I'm signing, how are you, aren't I? And I was like, you're putting the two signs together. It needs to be bigger, and you need to separate your hands. How are you? But it took her a while to understand why this just wouldn't work. And I tried to explain to her, when you mix the signs together, it means nothing anymore. You need to actually sign both of the words. Anyways, so that was a few things, and I explained that with Eddie, and pretty much she doesn't have a full understanding about ASL culture yet and the signs, but hopefully she'll get there over the course of the semester between myself and Darlene, and Eddie, of course, helping her out. Now, I did the first day ask her, as I've been taught to do, if she had a lesson plan, because she told me she had the first week or 2 already planned out, and I asked her if I could have a copy of that in case there was anything I needed to work on at home, so I was better prepared. And she told me pretty much she didn't have money, she couldn't afford to make me a copy of anything, just to make sure I showed up at 8 and we could go over it before classes started. And I explained that to Eddie, and Eddie said she should have plenty of money to go towards making me a copy of things. So we'll see if that changes over time or not. I don't know. But I have taken it upon myself every morning. I come at 8 o'clock and we discuss what we're doing for the day with each class, because it is different. And then if there's something I don't understand, because I'm not really an art person, I have her explain to me how she would like the kids to do the art project, what she wants in it, what she wants it to look like, so I can describe it to the best of my ability and make sure I don't want them to get bad grades or do something incorrectly, because it was my fault for explaining it wrong, or maybe I just didn't understand her, how she wanted it completed. So I've taken it upon myself to make sure, which I should do, that's my job as an interpreter, to make sure I know exactly what the lesson plan is and how she wants it explained. And in some regards, she's done this week grayscales and color scales. And for example, the first day I was explaining the color scale like as a color wheel. That's how I learned it in elementary school, but that's not what she wanted. She wanted a color scale from here to here with 6 different colors, and you basically go from white to black and add the color to the white and then add black to the color afterwards, which I didn't know that, but once she explained that to me, I was better able to describe it to the kids. I didn't have I didn't describe this color scale to them before, but when she just used the word later we'll do color scales, I had shown it as a color wheel and learned that I was incorrect, and it's actually a color scale. It goes from there to there. Anyways, I made the adjustment and fixed it after we had discussed it later on. As far as what I interpreted of week 1, we did the grayscales, and it's where the students measured out a 10-inch long, basically a rectangle by 1 inch wide, and they had 10 lines in between, or 9 lines in between, making 10 squares total, going from white to black. And they made these grayscales. The high school kids had to do it 3 times, and the middle school only had to do it once. And then I also had to describe to them their project that they had to buy things for that weekend and bring back. And then also this week with the elementary students, we did color painting, learning how to mix the primary colors to make the secondary colors. And so that was our main purpose this week. And in all the classes, she pretty much finished early the first day and gave them free time. And I explained to Eddie this was a problem with the free time, because to me that is the students' quality time. Since just like in any other class, the teachers would give the students free time. They can play, talk, do whatever. And in their free time, they were signing, and I wasn't voicing what they were signing. And she would ask me, what are they saying? What are they saying? And I explained to her, I can't see everybody at once. And if it was something I felt that was necessary for her to know, then I would tell her. But other than that, it was pretty much just their free time. And I've learned this week that Darlene just told them that was their private conversation. And, she went on. She still didn't sign it. But as Eddie gave us a key pointer, when we asked him, we could just tell her, let's go ask him. So her major thing is she wanted to make sure they weren't saying anything bad, which they weren't. So that was that. And also, at the, let's see. The major thing also in the grayscales, I explained to her that she needed an example. And she's like, do you really think I need an example? And I told her it was a visual language, so the more examples she had, the better. They would have something to look at, because I can only draw so many things in the air. This week we also discussed the rules and the rules and the elements of art. And there are 7 different elements of art. And she had a PowerPoint with elements in it, but then we just discussed it a little bit, and then she quizzed them over it. In regards to the students, I've realized there are a lot of different learning disabilities. I don't think the art teachers put 2 and 2 together. I've explained to her that deafness is not only inherited. Sometimes over time a child may lose their hearing, and it could be because of another disability. They could have cerebral palsy, or they could have been born prematurely. And a lot of students who are deaf may have another disability or something in regards to ADHD or ADD or autism and several other things. And she doesn't take their learning abilities, not knowing that they're severely behind a hearing child. She doesn't take it lightly. For example, if they're coloring all over painting all over the paper and not just in their one little circle, she's just like, what are they doing? Why are they messing that up? They're going to need to do that over again. That just doesn't look good. And the aides have explained to her, well, I think that's as best you're going to get. And with one student in particular, the aide said that he had autism, and that was the only child that she's pretty much accepted his work. Like, the way it is, that's the way it is, and she's accepted that. For example, with the kids paying attention to her, she'll have to constantly tell them, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, and she never worked with elementary students either before, so I don't think she really knows how to work with that age level and to get their attention in, short time spans, especially with the added disabilities on top of it. But that, as far as interpreting goes, I was standing behind her pretty much the entire time, with the exception of the younger ones. I realized they were just staring at the table, so I got down at their eye level and sat just a little bit behind her, but right next to her, next to the table as well, so I was at their eye level too. And this helped them pay attention a little bit better, but some just won't pay attention regardless. I've realized with some of the older kids, few of them, of course, are deaf, and then others, as usual, like, will have the hearing aid or the cochlear implants, and they don't mind voicing for themselves. In regards to finger spelling, I still am working on catching that. It's a learning process. And since I'm not used to art, for example, one student was signing Hugh to me, and I don't ever remember seeing that word growing up. And so it took her, I was like, say it again. And finally I got it, and the art teacher understood, and that was the main important part, was that she was able to understand what the student was talking about. Oh,